Good morning to everyone. I am Diane Wexler, and I'm on the board of the Afghan Institute of Learning for Learning. I welcome you to this call to learn more about the Afghan Institute for Learning. Before we begin, I'd like to handle some business. This meeting is hosted by Raven Miller and Yelda Saeed, who will be pulling questions from the chat. And we invite you to put your questions in the chat. Our format will be a bit different today from most Zoom calls, in that we've divided the presentation into distinct sections. And after each section, there will be a brief question and answer addressing questions of that topic, and then we will move on. I met Sakina Yaqubi when we served on the board of the Global Fund for Women in 2002. I soon learned in every way that Sakina was a force of nature, doing the impossible time and time again. Sakina was born in Herat, Afghanistan. Early on, her father sent her to school. Often, she was the only girl in the class. At 12, he came to her and said, "I'm getting proposals for marriage for you, and I'm going to give you a choice. You can either choose marriage or an education." Smartly, she chose education and began her lifelong relationship with education for girls and women. She moved to the States for college and graduate school. And when she returned to Afghanistan, she went to the refugee camps in Pakistan, filled with displaced Afghans. She observed that the girls in these camps had little to do, and they were completely illiterate. So she began teacher training in the camps. Her return to Afghanistan coincided with the rule of the Taliban. So education was outlawed for girls, and Sakina organized 80 schools underground, teaching 3,000 girls. AIL was born that moment. When she could, she opened schools, and soon AIL grew to include health services, mobile law and health clinics, and a women's hospital. They taught life skills and vocational skills that could be turned into jobs, paying jobs. They focused on building leadership, decision-making, and how to constructively negotiate with men in this heavily patriarchal society. She later opened a radio station, a TV station that reached thousands of Afghan citizens, mostly women who rarely left their homes. Sakina listens deeply to the needs of the Afghan population and builds programs to meet those needs. It is not top down. Her pedagogical approach is unique in Afghanistan. She teaches through interactive experiential activities and critical thinking, replacing rote learning and memorization. In the face of brutal opposition, she risks her life to teach women and children. Her life is threatened, which necessitates her traveling throughout the country, rarely staying in one place very long. An example of this threat is on her compelling TED Talk, where she confronts 19 Taliban. Her actions are courageous and heroic, and for some of us, downright terrifying. Sakina is an Ashoka Fellow, a Nobel Prize nominee, and has received 6 honorary doctorates, including one from Princeton. She has received prizes for her work from organizations worldwide, including Skoll, the Asia Foundation, the Clinton Initiative. She has also been invited to the White House by presidents from 1996 through 2016. I would like to introduce you to Sakina Yaqubi, who will give you a brief history and a description of some of her programs, AIL under COVID, and finally, she will address the peace negotiations and the possible impact on women and girls of the US withdrawal of troops and the return of the Taliban. Sakina, welcome.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you very much. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. First of all, I would love to welcome all of you. This is such a great opportunity for me to get to meet every one of you, especially that I didn't meet. It is wonderful to gather together in this occasion. I would like to talk to you a little bit about the history of AIL, although Diane talked to you a little bit about it, but I would like to tell you a little why. Why did I choose to go to Pakistan, and how did I choose to go to Pakistan? As Diane said, yes, I had my education completed. Yes, I had a comfortable place. Yes, I had a good job at the university, and I made good money. But you know, somebody who love Afghanistan, somebody who their children, and somebody who feel that from the time that I was a little, I wanted to help women and children, help women to save them from maternal child health till they die and delivery, and save the children from being dead because they didn't have any service. And also, from since then I was a child, I really wanted to help women to stand up for their right, because all around me, women were abused. So that having in mind, I went to Pakistan. There were 7 million refugees in Pakistan. I went there to see what I can do. And you know, I just want to briefly tell you, when you go to a refugee camp, when you see refugee, 7 million, from one camp to the next, I did a survey. And you know, I find out so much misery in that camp, so much misery that I lost my sleep over it. I was most of the time at night cry. And I said, why? Why these people are suffer so much? How can I, as one individual, make their life change? How can I change and transform these people? And you know, at that moment, it came to me that education is the key issue. Education can really free this woman. Education can free these children. Education can get them out of poverty. Education can give them opportunity to be somebody, because everyone has a human right, has a right to be somebody. Everybody deserves to have a good life. And that's the reason I started education in Pakistan. But you know, starting education, it wasn't easy, because I was fighting against odds. I was fighting Mujahideen. I was fighting many tradition, religious people. And to set up in the refugee camp school wasn't easy. But you know, going community to community in the refugee camp, talking to the leader, and try to convince them that education will change their life. And that's what I did. So with the help of community, with the help of people, with the help of women, especially women, because every camp that I went, they were crying, they were pouring, their weeps were going like crazy, and they were calling that even we are out of Afghanistan, we are abused here by the Pakistani soldier. From 10 to 10, the Pakistani soldier is abusing them. This young, beautiful girl sitting in the camp and crying, not knowing what to do, no education, no outside, nothing. So then we set up a school and we start program. And starting from here, from zero ground, there was not education at all. And that's we start our program. And the objective of the program was to really make people think, really make people to learn critical thinking, really make people to ask questions, really make people to ask questions and stand up on their feet. Fight for their rights. Fight for whatever right is theirs. It's too long that their right was abused. So through education in Pakistan, we start program after program after program. I am not going to go into all of those, but I just want to tell you that when I was doing that work in Pakistan, all of a sudden, people from Afghanistan came and asked for me to have program inside Afghanistan. Because Taliban were there, the school was banned for all children, and people wanted their children to be educated, and they find out about AIL. So yes, we went into Afghanistan during the Taliban. It wasn't easy. You know that if any one of us will be captured, will be crucified, we will be dead in the spot. But you know what? For me, it worth it. It worth it because the life of those children, in the life of those women, in the life of those young girls meant so much. They had so much energy. They had so much potential, and they could change the world. And as could you see it. And we started school, as Diane said, we trained 30,000 students, AD school inside Afghanistan. But what is it, education system? Education is today is different. The way that we have education today is completely different educational system than it was yesterday. Because the time that I started, it was rote memorization. Today is interactive methodology. It's update methodology. It is using technology, all kinds of things. You can see the girls are sitting around the table, enjoying education, learning from each other, discussing and debating education. And let me tell you, today's girls, just a little statistic that I give you, 50% of the University of Herald are women, girls. That can show you that how much AIL impact the life of those people, how much AIL work with those women, with those children, even with the men, to encourage them to send their children to school. So AIL start developing program after program. And so we had educational program, but not only for girls, we had for women, we had awareness program, we have all kinds of program that it's provide service, it's run government, leadership program, peace education, one after another one, it came. And we had one program, it's called Empower Education. And that Empower Education, we really taught women how to really think about what they want to do with their life. They want business, they want to be in political, they want to be a doctor, a teacher, an engineer, whatever they want, they could be. And through that program, continuously we are teaching women how to be empowered, and they are empowered. Today, I'm just giving to the news to you. Those women, they are bright. Those women are so good in whatever they do. They are perfect. They learn so fast. Around the clock, they are learning. So at the same time, we start having health education. Health education also was very, very important to have because women did not have a good health. They did not have a good nutrition. They were losing their children. They did not have a hygiene. So we start working with health education also. And so the health education was very, very important for those women to be able to go to the clinic, learn preventive methodology, learn how to take care of their children, learn how to take care of themselves, learn how to vaccine their children. One thing that it is amazing, you might say, well, this is something that every woman do, but women of Afghanistan will not go to clinic, and also they will not take their children for immunization. So we encourage those kids to go to the clinic and those women to come to the clinic and have their children immunized. So that was a program that it's really helped people to be healthy. Why I'm talking to you about? You could see that the situation, especially with COVID-19, it was so different. It was so different that people took the initiative. We had a poor country. We had a country that we really wanted people to take care of themselves, but they couldn't. They could not buy masks. They could not have a social distance. They didn't understand. And also they were not believing in it. They were not believing in social distance. So what happened? I sit here, I was locked down here. You will be surprised at how the staff of AIL work together, how wonderfully they work through COVID-19. Try to distribute food, try to distribute PPE, try to distribute all kinds of masks. We had production of masks because people could not buy the mask. So they have to produce the mask. And because of that, so people were able to have social distance. People were able to reach out. Thousands and thousands of masks was produced by AIL. So it was something that I really want to share with you, that AIL is capable of doing all kinds of work. But today, the life of people are changing. Again, the life of the people are changing because people expect that they go background. They cannot. Those women, they are updated. They are educated. They are talented. They hold job. They do business. They do business across the nation. They are doing business in different countries. They own their own property. They own their own business. They cannot go and sit in the house and be just a little, housewife. They can't. They wanted to be somebody different. And all of a sudden, crisis hitting again. And today, you could see what's happening to Afghanistan. You could see the coming of the Taliban in the Navy. American soldiers are leaving Afghanistan. In the last 2 months, it has been blood stream in Afghanistan, blood stream. Every single day, we had casualty all across our country. Several provinces have been fall into the hand of the Taliban. And that is tell us something. What will happen? Taliban are coming. Taliban are going to be empowered. I don't question the soldier leaving. But you know what? What about all those improvement of women? What about women being empowered? What about women getting into the task force? What will happen to this woman? Who is going to guarantee this? Who is going to guarantee that these women will go back to the job? Who is going to guarantee that these women are going to have their job and also their business? Who is guaranteed that these women have their right? And who is going to guarantee these women are going to be able to run their own businesses? Nobody guarantee. But these days that I'm sitting here, I'm thinking. I communicate with my staff constantly. One thing we decided that we're never going to give up. We constantly going to back up our people. We constantly going to provide education, because that these people wants that we scare and stop, but we are not. We are going to continue education because we saw the outcome of education. We saw the beauty of education. We saw how education has changed life. We saw how education gave people a status. So because of that, we continuously, with all friends that we have that back us up, all colleagues that backing us up, we are going to continue provide education. I think that I can go on, but I don't want to. And I would like to see that if there is some question in the chat room, then I will be able to answer those questions. Otherwise, then I can go on and talk about situation in Afghanistan right now. So if there is a question, I would love to answer. Thank you.
Hi, Sakina. Good to see you.
Hi, Stan.
Yeah. Can you, I didn't see a question in chat, so I took the opportunity to just ask it live. So you mentioned the school is for girls, but also for women. I also saw some men on the pictures. Can you say a bit more about the mix of men, women, and girls and how that works in practice?
Thank you, Stan. This is a beautiful question. I really appreciate. You know that AIL is a women organization. 80% of our personnel are women. But you know, one thing that you and I, we know that who are abusing those women, who are making the life tough for those women, who are being so rigid with those women that they don't want them out. So if we are educating women and the men are not aware of what these women can do and what these men are capable, or these women are capable, so it's no sense, doesn't make sense. For years and years, they were doing the same thing. So educating those men, they become our ally. They become our partner. They are helping us to these women move going forward. So that is the reason we are educating those men. And also I want to share with you that those men that you saw, they are all the youth group. They are the women and men empowerment group. They are youth group. They are all our young students, our young people who graduate from university, who graduate from high school, and they come and they sit in the auditorium and they have a discussion, they have a debate, they are communicating how they can be a better government, how they can run the government, how can, if they get in that position, what they are going to do, and how they can work side by side with these women. And that is we are trying to do. And I hope that I answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we do have another question. What methods do you envision using to enable to continue girls' education if the Taliban come back to power? And also, how do you plan to go back underground?
Well, you know, it is not going to be easy way because the time is different. The time that we start underground school, there were not educated people. We were starting with zero ground. And those people didn't know how to read and write. For example, we had fast track in those underground school that a young woman who was 14 or 15 never read and write. But all of a sudden, we are going, if we go underground, we are dealing with people who are highly educated, the people who are no internet, the people who are graduate from university, the people who are having, as I said, business, the people who are having a job outside. So we have to plan different strategic form of how we can get these people to be underground. It's hard. It is very hard, but we will do it. If we have to, we will do it. How we do it? We work with community. We ask the community to place us. And also maybe we're in some houses that it will be our own. And then it had underground that we can bring our people into work. I really believe that trying to work with these women who are educated, I think, again, they are also going to be ally for us. They are going to also help the process to go forward. Because at the time that we start, these women were not educated. Today, these women are educated. So it's not going to be easy, but we are going to get there with our friend, with our ally, with our community, because also AIL is a community organization and we have a reputation working in the community. So that's what we are trying to do. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. And we had another question come through. Can you tell us a little bit more about TV and Radio Mirage and how they're having an impact during these times?
Thank you very much. It's a good question. I really, as I said, One of the reasons that we start TV Mirage and Radio Mirage, because first of all, it's a non-profit for profit. It means that we want to do something that it provides service to the community. And Radio Mirage and TV Mirage is a way of giving publicity to the public. For example, I give you, Radio Mirage was instrumental for the COVID-19 because 24/7 we were giving advertise about how to do social distance, how to take care of yourself, how to use mask, how to use your medicine, how to use be in a public. That was one thing. Again, when the country didn't have mask, Radio Mirage constantly was giving publicity about the mask. Say, we are ready, we have here the mask and you can come and get it. So we distribute thousands and thousands of masks. Again, Radio Mirage also is a source of giving educational program to the public. And you know, we have 2.5 million viewers. All these people are constantly, they are focusing in their radio and listening to our broadcast about education, how to send their children to school and why it's benefiting them. And also about women's rights, women issue, democracy. These are all, we have a speaker in the Radio Mirage. They come, they give presentation, they ask question. People, we have a like NPR here. People ask question, and as a result, people constantly are communicating with AIL how to provide better service and how what they want. And now Radio Mirage is 2 months that is functioning, is in the trial stage. But again, when they hear and when they listen, a huge difference. And I am sure Radio Mirage, TV Mirage is going to be as successful as the Radio Mirage, because already we have viewer, already we have program that is constantly is providing education, especially now that we are trying to teach about social distance, also teach about distance education. Distance education was something new in Afghanistan, and still we don't have internet, still we don't have a media that much available. So TV Mirage, and another way that we have a classroom that students are learning, the teacher are teaching, and we broadcast over the TV, and the people watch, and the people are learning. Also, we talk about women's rights, human rights, about democracy, about the coming of Taliban, about whatever you can think of it. So Radio TV Mirage is broadcasting and people are watching. So that's, again, I am 100% sure that TV Mirage is going to be another success. Let's hope that we will not be blown up. That is hope. That is the things that I hope. Yeah.
Okay, we're just going to take these last 2 or 3 questions. Next one, many of your teachers and staff have survived the Taliban once before, but how are you preparing the young generation right now?
Well, you see, our teacher training program have been so successful, you know, and we train about 30,000 teachers. One of the reasons we want to continuously keep our teachers on their job and continue, we want them to really teach. And how we are going to train them to teach underground? Because most of them, they know that they were underground. They know how to deal with the underground situation. But at the same time, our young people, they born in the war country. They know day to day how the Taliban were operating. So it's something not new for them. They know already, they are exhausted, they are scared so much. So they will work with us any way that we set up a methodology that they can be successful in their teaching underground. Yes.
All right, so one of the last questions, how did you work with your staff during COVID? What was your biggest challenge?
Oh, that was something. Well, again, I want to first say that I am very proud of my staff. I have an excellent team in Afghanistan. They work around the clock, try to do their job, and they are dedicated. They believe in education and they are dedicated. So although I was locked down here in US and I was in here, but during the night, I keep working with them in Afghanistan. I have virtual conferences with them. I had a meeting with them. And so constantly we discuss what they want to do and how they do it. And they were the one who really put the idea. They were the one who really started the initiative. So for example, we never have been closed. Many programs has been closed. Many organization has been closed. Many school has been closed. We were closed for a little while, but we continuously did create how to do the mass production by bringing all our skill trainer classes, sewing classes that we have in all center in one place. And we provide sewing machine and said, okay, so, and we provide raw material. That's they did. And they constantly provide those masks. And also we brought all our teachers and said, okay, let's brainstorm how we are going to create a sort of a distance education packages. And it wasn't easy. So I gave some idea, they gave some idea, and we try to provide packages that the children continuously go to school. Some children didn't have no internet at all. Some parents have a smartphone. Some parents did not have any phone at all. So we prepared 3 kinds of packages. One will go to the school, to the people who have an internet. One goes to the people who have a small phone, and one goes to the people who come back to school, get their homework, and go and work, and come back and get the help from the teacher. Because still, there are many people who are not able to help their children with the homework. So the children will come back to school and do that. So that's the way we work during the crisis.
Right, I think we are through with questions. I will hand it back over to Diane if she has any questions for Sakina.
Sakina, can you please address the negotiations that are happening now between the Taliban and the government? What's the status of those? Are they coming up with anything to ensure the security and peace and safety of women and girls and citizens of Afghanistan? What is the status of that?
Thank you, Diane. First of all, I want to tell you that the Taliban are not somebody that really true, honest people. They are saying something and doing something. You know that the negotiation has been going on for 6 months. They have been in Qatar, meeting after meeting. Day after day, they were in Qatar. Every day they said something, and then they will change their mind, and they said, okay, we are not negotiating because America did that, because people did this, because people did that. They were not negotiating. They were excusing. They were making all kinds of excuses. But then they ended, they said, okay, we will go to Moscow, and they will negotiate, they will talk in Moscow, and they get our neighbor there, and they will communicate. So they went to Moscow, and they sat around the table again. They were, every day they changed their mind. They said, sometimes they talk about the Constitution, some part of the Constitution they accept, some part of the Constitution they didn't accept. And also you have to remember that those women who are there, they are not from every province. Yes, they are very powerful women. They are political women, but they are not representing all part of Afghanistan. Also, they are not representing all women of Afghanistan. Women are concerned. So women said that what's going to happen to us? And these women have a big responsibility on their shoulder because they know that they are representing all the women of Afghanistan. So they also were strongly emphasizing that the right of the women must be absorbed. And also education is very important. It must be absorbed. And also one other issue that they wanted to have a ceasefire, and the Taliban did not accept ceasefire. They said, no, we don't want ceasefire until that U.S. completely withdraw. But U.S. start withdrawing, but only 3 days they give ceasefire. But those 3 days were the days of Eid, but still they blown school, still they blown houses, still they kill people by individual, they are pinpointing people. So it wasn't easy to they do it. Like they said, okay, we will accept it and we negotiate. Still negotiation is going on. Still they didn't accept anything. Still, they are going to go to Turkey. This negotiation is going to take place in Turkey. And now they said that they are going to accept it, but still, nobody hears from their mouth that they are going to accept. They are discussing here and there, but they are not really saying, yes, they are going to accept the negotiation. So still, we are waiting, hoping. But I want to tell you something, that the people of Afghanistan want peace. Everybody wants peace because people are tired of war. Not only people are tired of war, people are losing their dear one. They are losing their children. Can you imagine the time that they hit that school, the high school, the Sayyid al-Shahada school? You know that 90 young girls were killed. 150 of them were wounded. And why? These are all beautiful tree that they were going to blossom, they are going to fruit, and they were dead. They are right now attacking every smart students, every school. And that is so something that people cannot tolerate anymore. So people are all behind the peace. They want the peace, they want this negotiation. They think that this is a chance. This is a chance for the people of Afghanistan and the Taliban to bring peace to Afghanistan. And we are all looking for this negotiation. Believe me, nobody is for war. So we are waiting, and we constantly pray and wait for this negotiation.
Any other questions for Sakina?
Just overall, keeping all of this in mind now, what are your tentative plans for the future of AIL?
Well, future of the AIL is, it all depends on our resource, all depend on our security, all depend on negotiation. If the negotiation go through, then we function as usual. That would be wonderful. If security is being okay, if they are not going attacking a school center, that would be good, then we can function. But if they are going to attack, then we have to find a way to operate, because we are not going to stop. Nobody is going to stop. Not only me, not the staff, not the people. You know, AIL has reached 14.5 million people so far. All these people who went to the voting stage, they vote for the government. All those people who are going to university, one way or another way, they have been in and out of AIL. We have 300 students every year graduating from our program in a different area. It's not just first grade through 12th grade, it's in different level, because we have different level of education. So all these people are learning how to be independent. They are learning how to stand up for their right. They are learning how to be themselves. And for that reason, I think that it's going to be hard if you have to stay home and not do anything. So we are going to do as much as we could to run AIL as it was running, if it is on the ground or if it's underground. That's we decide. That's we want to do. It's going a challenging situation. We are all prepared for lots of challenge in front of us.
Sakina, I think people would be interested in hearing how you do this, how you have where do you get that strength? Where do you find the courage to step up time and time again and do these very difficult things?
Well, Diane, I'm thankful that you asked this question. First of all, you know, I want to say this. I'm a spiritual person. I believe in God. I think somebody over there is protecting me. That's one thing. First thing. Second things, I think that when you see people in need, and when you see young people, like for example, right now, many of our young people are going to drug. They become drug addict.
They become what?
Drug addict.
Drug addict.
Yeah. And many of them going to a suicide, they are killing themselves. Many of them running out of the country because they cannot stay anymore. And when you see a situation like that, and you saw how many people we are dealing, what kind of people we are dealing. How could you, I think if you are there, anybody who has a heart will not stand this. It's not that I am so special, I am so different. I really believe that humanity told us that we have to share. We have to reach out for each other. That is the way I brought up. That is the way my ethics work with me. And I am sure anybody who believes in humanity will stand up for this, because this is inhuman. This is inhuman to be like that.
Wow.
That's what I believe. And let me tell you, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. No matter what, I'm not going to stop. Maybe this news that I'm talking, it will go anywhere. But you know what? Right now, I wrote hundreds of letters to many, many people to ask them, to really ask their senator, to ask their government, to ask President Biden, all of us, that let's do something for the women and children of Afghanistan. And that do something means that stand behind them. Don't leave them alone. Don't leave them alone. That's what I'm saying.
Anyone else?
Well, Diana, this is Barbara Call, and
Hi, Barbara.
hi, it's nice to see you. I think capturing what Sakina said at the very beginning of your speech, which was marvelous, and taking that 10 minutes and spreading your word further would be wonderful. The last bit of what you just said was very touching, and thank you for all the work you do. I don't really have a question except to thank you.
Barbara. Thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate. And also, I would like to ask this question, as you said it, in that every one of you, if you have a chance, share what's happening to Afghanistan with your friends and colleagues. Because publicity is one thing that we do through Radio Mirage and through our TV Mirage. But to be publicity from here, and we are a small organization, we are a big organization, we are one of the biggest organizations inside Afghanistan. But in this country, we are a small organization. We don't have that much, resource to be able to publicize many things, you know? So I really appreciate that if you guys share this with your colleagues and friends. Thank you.
Great. Anyone else? Okay, let's wrap up. Thank you, Sakina, for all your work, for all your caring and your intelligence and your courage. Afghanistan is a better place and a safer place because of you. Thank you. So
Thank you.
I want to talk a little about something that happened recently. I was talking to Sakina a couple of weeks ago, and I asked her what would happen when the Taliban returned. There was a moment of silence, and she said, they have already returned. Almost 90 girls in 2 schools have been killed in the last month. One of the schoolgirls interviewed right after the bombing said, I am not stopping my education, even if they threaten to kill me. Both Sakina and the students' comments were very difficult for me to hear. We could potentially be heading into a major humanitarian disaster. Girls will be stopped from being educated, and girls and women will be let go from all work in the public, never going out except with a male guardian. We will see more girls killed. We will be turning the clocks back a century. Sakina, who is the primary fundraiser for AIL, has been sheltering the last 15 months in Dearborn, Michigan, when she missed the last flight out for Afghanistan. Sakina's awards, donations, and grants have sustained AIL for 26 years. This year, it has been impossible to meet people face to face. Most fundraising has been on very limited Zoom calls and with institutions that have had a long history with AIL. This is a very tense moment. Moving the schools underground and taking measures to protect the girls will be costly, especially when Sakina will need to return to Afghanistan to support programs there. She will need to fundraise from Afghanistan, an almost impossible task. We need your help. We are going to ask you today. We are going to ask you today to stretch and give a significant gift as you are able. We are going to ask you to give minimally $1,000 at this moment in time. All sizes of gifts matter. They count. $10 or $100,000. If you are able to support AIL in a more significant way, you could become a multi-year donor. You could support a specific program of AIL, like the law clinics. If you're interested in doing this, please contact the person who you invited, and they will be able to connect you up with Sakina so you can have a conversation about what's possible. We will be sending you a link in the next couple of days for you to make your donation. In addition, we are sending you a link to Sakina's TED Talk and an article written by Nicholas Kristof 2 weeks ago, mentioning and quoting Sakina. We thank you for being on this call and supporting AIL. This is a crucial time in the history of AIL. And I think the world needs to step up. We are being called on to do our part. We are all connected, and we need to support people who are struggling and who perhaps may struggle even more in the future.